Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're all well. Hope you're having a good weekend and enjoying what is just started to be the knockouts of the World Cup. Obviously, we've got Netherlands and USA, and then Argentina are playing later. Listen, I feel like the World Cup will just get started now. We've seen some unbelievable, exciting games, and I think that what we would carry on to do is see that. But I want to talk about last night. I want to talk about last night. I want to talk about Brazil and how that can affect Arsenal. I think Arsenal, it's fair to say, excuse me, have been fairly lucky with injuries so far. Unfortunately, last night we got our first one. Gabriel Jesus. Yeah, unfortunately, Gabriel Jesus is now injured. And it's looking like he could be injured for a few weeks. The festive period, January, they're suggesting when he comes back, it's going to be frustrating. It really is. If we do miss Gabriel Jesus. Now, the scan is going to be telling us more. A lot of people are saying that it's not as bad as it sounds, and some people are saying that he's going to be out for a long time. It's going to be frustrating if he is out for a long time, and we're going to talk about what that could mean. But on more positive news, I thought Martinelli was quality last night. Like I saw parts of the Brazil game, and everything that was good about the Brazil game was about Martinelli. I thought Gabriel Martinelli, for me, was absolutely sensational. Um, and I do believe personally, like I'm having some audio problems apparently. So apologies, people. Hopefully, I can try and fix that. Um, yeah, apologies. I don't know what's happening, if it's my audio or if it's my headset or whatever it is, but hopefully it sorts itself out. But I thought everything about Martinelli was superb. I think the world is finally starting to see Gabriel Martinelli. Like all of us Arsenal fans have been talking about how great he is and how fantastic he is and has been this season. And everything that was good about Brazil was coming down Martinelli's side. So it's great for me to see him playing. What I don't want is injuries. And unfortunately, Gabriel Jesus picked up a knock. And it now looks like he's out for a while. But I want to ask you guys, what does this mean for Arsenal? What does this mean? Does this mean that we're going to have to play Eddie Nketiah? Does it mean that Martinelli comes into the middle and we play somebody else on the wing if Smith Rowe's back, for example? Does it mean that we have to go into the transfer market in January? There's a few options. There's a few options for us. And okay, I don't want to be harsh. I don't want to be too harsh. I feel like I just have to be truthful. I don't. I'm not filled with confidence starting Eddie Nketiah. Um, I think it's fair to say that Eddie Nketiah proved a lot of people wrong at the back end of last season. I think it's fair to say that Eddie Nketiah scoring the 4 or 5 goals that he did gave us a chance at that top four when Lacazette wasn't performing and Aubameyang had left. But we needed a January striker and we needed another centre forward, in my opinion anyway, in the summer. I still feel that we need one in January, but I just can't see it happening. But would that now change things? With Gabriel Jesus now out, if he's out for a longer period of time and we're looking February, March time, he might be back. I think it will change our plans in January and it will mean that we'll definitely mean we have to get a striker in. Now, I look at what I still feel we need and we lack at Arsenal. And a really interesting conversation with Tom Canton yesterday on the show. If you haven't seen that already, check it out. He was talking about why Vlahovic might not be the best move for Arsenal, for the fact that he will be an aerial focal point that everyone's just trying to hit. And sometimes that's not what Arsenal under Arteta wants to be about. And I think Pep Guardiola has seen that this season where he's trying to hit Haaland the whole time. Harry Kane, he's been doing that at Spurs for the last few years. Darwin Nunez is now getting that at Liverpool. We've seen over the past, particularly in the last couple, Havertz has been that focal point for Chelsea and Lukaku was before it. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't work because it does work and it's been working for Manchester City. But Tom was sort of saying that he believes that's why potentially Man City have dropped some points because of that. So he doesn't really think that Arsenal need that. Now, I'm on the other side. I think we do absolutely need an aerial threat. I think the profiled striker we need is Vlahovic or a Olivier Giroud type player. Those attributes that You can hold up play. You can link up play. You're a threat in the air. You've definitely got the flick-ons and the assists, and you're always a threat whenever you're in and around the box. I'd like to see us with a striker like that, which is why a few seasons ago I wanted us to go in for Tammy Abraham before he went to Roma, because I felt like he'd be a fantastic option for us. I still stand by that. Tammy's a massive gooner. I know that for a fact. He loves Arsenal. And I think if he was to become available and wanted a trip back to England, then we need to try and get there ahead of Chelsea, because I think they do have some form of agreement of a buyback. So I think that would be a very good option in the summer. If we're talking about January strikers, the only one I can actually see, if I'm honest, that would have a chance of coming would be Cody Gakpo. I think he's having a great World Cup. He's playing at the moment against the USA. 3 goals in 3 games. And I think what you get with Cody Gakpo is a player that can play across the front three positions, left or right, but I think looks like a centre forward. He's got the pace, he's got the height, he's got the power, and he's got the finishing. The right age as well, a young lad who I think will only get better. And I suppose the only risk is somebody coming over from Holland, because it really is 50-50 with players that come from that league. I can think of some amazing players that have played in the Premier League that have come from PSV or Holland. Van Persie being one of them. Arjen Robben, obviously Dennis Bergkamp. Carlu was playing over in there. But you look at some of them and they've just not hit the heights. Some of the defenders I can think of that have been at Chelsea. Obviously, Tottenham had Vincent Janssen. Chelsea had Matthias Kesman. There was Luke de Jong, who come over from Newcastle, who was poor but scores over in Holland. But like I say, there's been some great ones. Wijnaldum's another one who's come over and did really, really well. So I think Cody Gakpo would be a good option for Arsenal. It looks as if Manchester United are in the front running for him, and it does look like it will be a summer move. But if Arsenal do have a long-term injury to Gabriel Jesus, I'd love to see us go in for somebody like Cody Gakpo, because I do feel that that would be needed. When I look at what Arsenal need, we've already done a show on that. Mudryk, yes. Danilo, yes. Tielemans, yes. I think all 3 positions are great. But the one that does stand out, yeah, is the centre forward position. Eddie Nketiah, let's talk about what he's improved on. He's definitely improved his strength. He's definitely developed his off the ball stuff. And I think he can understand now how to drive. But there's a lot to his game that I still don't feel confident about. So, do I have the confidence one-on-one that Eddie will score? I can't say yes. I've seen it 4 or 5 times already in the Europa League where he's missed. He's hit Rose, he's put it wide, he's scuffed it, he's tapped it at the keeper, or he's ballooned it over the bar. There's been a couple of chances that he's put away in the Europa League, it's fair to say. He's not going to have the opportunity this year to show us what he's made of in the League Cup, because we've gone out of that, which I'm still disappointed about and felt we could have done a lot better in that competition. But now it could be the time for Eddie Nketiah to prove how much he has, to show us all how much he has improved. Because it could be that Jesus is out for a while and we get this guy in. But I just don't see that he's the one. I really don't. A few people in the chat agreeing. They're saying they're not sure about Eddie Nketiah. Nick is saying Eddie is not the one. Stop Simping says that Tammy is superb. If we can't get Ivan Toney, looks like Ivan Toney's going to get a 3-month ban. So I don't think that that's going to be an option for anybody now. Matty G says, I think us fans shouldn't lose our heads. We're going to bring in an attacking player in January. The other players will have to step up. Stop Simping says that Eddie is absolutely garbage. Look at those strikers at the World Cup. If we think Eddie's an adequate backup, we're delusional. Yeah, listen, some people are saying it's harsh, some people are saying it's not harsh. It's the way of saying that it's obviously you're not being harsh. I don't want to be harsh, because Eddie Nketiah, I like everything about him off the pitch. I think he's a hailing boy, he's a gooner. He's come from Chelsea to try and prove himself. He's looked at us as an option to get first team football and to win something at the big club and be a part of a big club. He signed that new contract, albeit on a lot of money, in my opinion, and was given the 14 shirt, which doesn't really frustrate me too much. I'm a big fan of squad numbers, but if you're any good, then that squad number will be absolutely fine for you. So, yeah, I'm not a massive fan of what I've seen from Eddie Nketiah of late, but it could be that we need him. We got West Ham and Brighton before Jesus is rumoured to come back, so it'll only be the 2 games that we'll need to be without him for. But I believe if I was actually, if I'm Mikel Arteta, I know what he's going to do. He's going for Eddie up top. If it was me, I would probably look to bring in Smith Rowe, if he's back, that is, and then have Martinelli through the centre with Saka on the right. That's what I'd look to be doing. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what Arteta does. I'm praying, and I've got everything crossed, that Gabriel Jesus is going to be absolutely fine, and he's going to be fine for West Ham. He's still got 3 weeks. We still don't know what's happening in terms of the length of his injury yet, so it could be that he's going to be absolutely fine. I think there are options in January for Arsenal. Mudryk is looking like we've agreed personal terms. It's just about that fee. Is that fee going to be too much for us? Are Shakhtar Donetsk going to demand that they want 50 or 60 to 70 million? Are the personal terms agreed, but the fee's just never going to happen? You'd like to think that if personal terms are agreed, then Arsenal are quite happy to pay the money. Danilo, I can see that one happening. I think Palmeiras are going to accept the 25 to 30 million, and then the 75% will go to them. The 25% will go to his boyhood club, and he'll be over from Brazil, joining the likes of Gabriel, Martinelli, Jesus, and Edu. And I think that'll be a good start for him. And as for Tielemans, I just don't think this will be anything but a summer move. I don't think Leicester will want to sell him. And I think that they'll just hold out and say, do you know what? I don't need the 20 million. Let's just keep you. We're better with you in the side, and you can go where you want in the summer. A little bit similar to Wilfred Zaha at Palace. I don't think he's going to go anywhere in January. I think he's going to go for a summer move for his last kind of big move before his career. So that's what I believe will happen. I don't see another centre forward. I think we will get Danilo and Mudryk. I do. And I feel that'll be 2 very good signings. I don't know if it'll be enough to give us a title push. I still feel that there would be a potential midfield and centre forward missing, but we've got the wide forward and the defensive midfield that we're definitely missing. And it'll be interesting then to see where Arsenal go. As for the other players at the World Cup, Thomas Partey is now out with Ghana and he's not injured, touch wood. Ben White has left and come home for personal reasons, which we still don't know too much about. But when we look at the other players, they are all still out there. Tomiyasu is out there. He's gone through. Xhaka is out there. He's gone through. Obviously, Saka and Ramsdale are still with England and they've gone through. We've spoken about Martinelli and Jesus and how they've gone through. Jesus now back with an injury and hopefully it's not long term. So out of the 10 players that Arsenal have got out there, I think there's still 7 or 8 that are still out there in the knockout stages, which is great for them, of course. It's very hard to get an understanding of what Arsenal fans want. Do we want the players out there to be successful? Yeah, I think we do. Do we want the players at home rested, knowing that they're going to be back and injury free? Yes, we do. So it's a real hard balance, isn't it? If you was to say to me England are going to go and win the World Cup, I'd love it. If you was to say to me Brazil are going to win the World Cup, I'd love it for Martinelli and Jesus. But at the same time, I can't help but being selfish with my club over country and say that I really want Arsenal to be safe and sound with all their players ready to go on Boxing Day against West Ham. Going to be interesting. Who's going to come back fit? What sort of side is Arsenal going to put out against West Ham on Boxing Day? I don't think Ramsdale will be affected, so I expect to see him starting in goal. Tomiyasu, I can't see Japan getting through their groups for their knockout round, so I believe he'll be back and fit and ready to play. Ben White, is he going to be okay? We don't know. Hopefully. Gabriel, he'll be raring to go, as will Zinchenko and Tierney. It's all on what happens to William Saliba in France. How far are they going to go? Very far, I think. They've got the potential to win the competition, in my opinion. Granit Xhaka, are they going to go much further now that Switzerland are through? Who I thought was great last night, by the way. Thomas Partey's now home, which is great, and hopefully he won't get any more injury problems. Erdegaard will be fit and raring to go as they haven't competed. Obviously, Smith Rowe, we hear, is going to be back for the game after the World Cup, which is great news. And then it's all about what Martinelli and Saka can do now that Jesus is injured. So our first 11, pretty much all of them, are going to be playing a part in this, have played a part in this World Cup. So I hope that they're going to be ready and fit and raging to go against West Ham. Because let's be honest, it's going to be a difficult game because West Ham are fighting for their lives down there at the moment. It's absolutely mad seeing what's happening there. But so be it. Let me know in the comments what you would do. Would you go in for a striker in January, hearing the news after Jesus getting injured? Would you play Eddie Nketiah? Would you play Martinelli through the middle? Let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. We're going to leave it there as a quick stream today, talking about the news of Jesus and, of course, the positive news of how well that Martinelli played last night. I don't think we can stress that enough. I thought he was really good. And this kid has got an unbelievable ceiling. Like, we're going to see a top talent here. And I hope that he stays at Arsenal for a very long period of time. And I do believe that he will. Going to do a quick stream when we hear any more news about the Saliba, Saka and Martinelli contracts. That's going to be big in the topics and news. And I think, in my opinion, my heart is saying all three of them will sign. Sounding like Saka is pretty much there or thereabouts already, between 180 to 200k a week on a long 5-year deal. Saliba and Martinelli, I mean, Martinelli, to be fair, has made it quite clear. Saliba's the one that we're still not quite sure about, but we hope that he's going to stay and sign a long term as well. Let us know what you do in the chat. Let us know what you do in the comments. We're going to see you next time. I will be back with another show very soon to talk all things about the World Cup. And of course, England tomorrow night are playing Senegal. So let's hope that we can get through. I'll be doing a show and a post-match show on that game. So make sure you do that. Smash a like on this if you can for me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the notification bell so that you know when I'm next on. And we'll see you next time, people. Take care. Up the Arsenal.